Hello, this is an Infiniti Q70 hybrid, and I've got to say, living with this vehicle for the past few months has brought a new appreciation in me for driving a vehicle that's not your conventional gasoline engine vehicle. So not only hybrids like this, I'm talking about fully electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, CNG vehicles, even diesel, for example. So one of the things we usually ask is, how do you know, just think about the things you've been taught in the past. How do you know your vehicle is running, right? One, you can probably hear the engine, you can hear the exhaust. If not, you could probably feel the rumble or as the vehicle runs, as the engine runs, right? They're usually pretty rough. And if you're lucky enough to have something like a Rolls-Royce or even a Lexus, something that is so smooth you can't really perceive it running, the engine running, you can probably look at the tachometer and you'll see that the needle is on a number other than 0, so you can say, oh, the vehicle is indeed running. But what about these non-conventional vehicles? Obviously with a diesel, no worries about that, but think about where the world is going. Hybrids and electric vehicles, for example. So this one is a hybrid, and let me see if I can force it to go into, there was a way we could force it to go into EV mode. Okay, that's gonna work. So in a vehicle like this, how do you know that the vehicle is indeed running? Well, I know it's running because I left it running, but when you look at the gauges, everything looks dead. It looks like that second position when you turn your key to the second position, or when you push your button to the second position without pushing your foot, pushing the brake. But so for the hybrid, I can say there's a pretty easy way. When I look at this icon over here, this light green car with back and forth arrow on it, that is a ready to drive light. And the way you can think about it is, it's not ready to drive unless it's running, right? That makes sense. The second way I can look at it is, it's an EV mode. So if it says EV, I mean, that's the only way it knows how to. And I mean, looking at it over here, the screen doesn't really tell you so much. And let me turn it off so we can just kind of go through how much of this looks similar to a conventional vehicle and how much of it is not. So push the button, first stage. That's like turning your key into the accessory position. Your radio comes on probably, but your screen, and you cannot even see my energy levels. Think about your fuel tank level, right? Push it to the second position, and things come alive. You can see your energy reserves, you can see more things coming on, and your gauge cluster turns on, which is another interesting thing, because in modern vehicles the gauge cluster is almost always lit, right? So here's an interesting thing. So it's not ready to go though, because I can put it in drive and I'm not going anywhere. You can see by the check engine light that this is not really in full position. I'm just depleting my battery reserves right now, right? You can see the battery light. Okay, so this, I'm just talking off the dome right now, so please pardon me if the conversation seems to be going all over. Let me go ahead and start the vehicle. That's it. It's in EV mode right now, so we're pretty much ready to go. Put it in drive and go. It does make a noise though. And in reverse, you can hear that beeping, right? I've made videos in the past showing what happens. So here's another thing that I discovered with regards to safety. In your standard vehicle, think about when automatics were newer, for example, and I know automatic transmissions and the gear selectors have changed so much. Things have really changed over the years, but the standard way was, if you had it in drive, an automatic vehicle, right? If you have a manual vehicle, it doesn't matter which gear you're in. You turn it off, put your e-brake, pull your parking brake up, and you're good. But with an automatic vehicle, if you turned it off, see the gears in D, turn it off. It reminds you to shift, and you can barely see it, but the vehicle is rolling backwards right now. Okay, cool. We'll go ahead, turn to shift, and we're good. We can now get out of the vehicle. That is common. Your standard automatic transmissions do that. Here's where the interesting part comes in with this vehicle right here. So I'm turning it on again. it's in drive, or rather it's ready to drive. I'm going to put it in drive, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm just, just here. When I open my door, it gives me that warning. The beep is a little different. If you're not familiar with the vehicle, you might not really know what's going on. And at first it seems a little jumpy of the vehicle, but if you think about it, the vehicle is in quiet mode. So if you got out of your vehicle right now without remembering to put it in park, it's going to keep moving. And the challenging thing is that when it's going forward, it does make a noise, but it's not as obnoxious as it is when backing up. Hear that? Yes, it does give you the shift warning as well, but you have other things going on. So that's an interesting thing. Very interesting. As I said, first time it happened to me, I said, well, what's the issue? And plus, I'm pretty much safe whenever I have passengers alighting from the vehicle. I put it in park and just wait, till the vehicle's done rocking and things like that. I really don't know what I was doing that day. Maybe I was getting mail or something, which again, sort of risky if you think about it. And it started beeping. I said, okay, that is really interesting to know. But you come to think about it, and it is a consideration for safety. The other thing, I've shown this in different videos. So you've seen it where it's in drive. I open the door, nothing happens, just tells me to shift to park, right? However, if I shifted it into park and I open the door, it forces the gasoline engine to run. Very interesting. Again, I don't know how much of that was intentional. If they looked at it and said, this is a way for you to, if you open the door and got out of the vehicle before fully turning it off while it's in park, if the engine runs, well, you'll hear it. It will be audible and it will remind you, hey, you need to do something about this. So I'm not sure how much of that was intentional in design and what portion of it is just a beautiful mistake, but I love it all. I'm embracing it. With the way the world is changing, aside from your conventional gasoline engines, there are so many different powertrain technologies coming out, and we're having to unlearn what we knew and learn new things. And even in just regular gasoline engines, as I mentioned, the gear shift technology has changed. With some of these vehicles, you're in drive and you get out of your vehicle, it just jumps into park, for example. So many different things are coming up, and I look forward to what things will be in the future. The hybrid was me dipping my toes into this. I have some investments I've been looking into in the future, and I wanted to test this thing out myself, and I'm loving it. I think I look forward to what the future is going to bring to us as a car community.